If you get a $1 million today, what would you do with it? I want you to seriously pause this video right here and tell me in the comments. I really want to know. If I'm not wrong, you want to buy something. You want to spend the money on something that you have always wanted. The moment you have money, the consumerism behavior starts knocking at the door of your amygdala. You may fancy a luxury car, a big house, world tour, or whatever. A research from Harvard says that 95% of purchasing decisions are made subconsciously and are driven by our emotions. Say, for an example, you want to buy an Audi, right? Ask yourself once, why this particular car? Why Audi? Why not a Honda Civic? Let's zoom out from the popular internet narratives and flashy Instagram show off, and let's try to understand the concept of wealth preservation from a very logical POV. It's kind of strange to me to wrap my head around, but this is actually true. Most people in the world do not really want financial freedom. Instead, they are looking for validation from their friends, family, and society. We are so much into the idea of social validation that we confuse being rich with looking rich. When I was in school, many of my friends were getting their first ever smartphones. And I used to think it must be really nice to have one. Flashing their smartphones, touching the glass screen, watching videos, playing games on it. It looked really cool. It was something very, very new at that time when I was growing up. And back then we only used to have those landline phones. Hello. Everything was analog, nothing digital. Though I was never a demanding child, but one time I remember when I almost cried to my father that I also want a smartphone as well. Now, smartphones used to be really expensive back then, and my father couldn't afford it. But somehow he managed to buy me one, thanks to him. Over the years, what I have realized is that wanting what others have is a typical primal behavior. There's nothing inherently wrong about it. That's how we are. However, said that, it's not the best behavior to practice for our own good. And this is something a person has to be trained since childhood days, or else it will be very difficult to self-realize this behavior pattern as an adult, let alone rectifying it. And by the time you may realize, if you ever do, it could be too late already, and you may have wrapped yourself in a bunch of wrong decisions leading to a very miserable life situation. But why wanting what others have is even a problem in the first place? The problem is that comparison never ends. First it's the smartphone, then it's the bike, then it's the car, then it's a bigger house maybe, then it's the Rolex and whatnot, right? There is always someone ahead of you in life. If your happiness depends on having what other people have, you will spend your entire life chasing a finish line that keeps on moving. The people who are trying hardest to look rich are often not rich at all, and the people who are genuinely wealthy rarely feel the need to prove it. You may have noticed that ultra rich people wear very simple clothes. You will rarely see them in flashing designer costumes. Warren Buffett still drives a Cadillac.
Do any of your billionaire friends ever joke with you about the Cadillac and that you're driving and not something flashier?
No, they know me pretty well. This is the McDonald's I go to frequently.
And lives in the same house that he bought in 1958. It's been over 60 years now, and he says that he's happy in his home. If someday he feels that some other place will make him more happy, then he will consider moving to another house. But he's actually content with what he has, and he's more focused on things that really matter, instead of being busy showing off his billions of dollars of wealth to the world. Makes sense, doesn't it? Pavel Durov says he owns no property because it consumes a lot of time in perfecting it, and he has better and productive things to do in life.
You don't own anything?
No.
No
land, no real estate, nothing.
Why?
Well, because for me, my number one priority in life is my freedom. And once you start buying things, first, it will tie you down to a physical location. And the second reason is I like to stay focused on what we do at Telegram. So I know that if I buy a house, I buy a jet, something like that, I would be spending time on trying to make it nice. And
yeah.
this will require a lot of time and effort.
Would you go with leather seats or velvet seats?
Exactly. And
You're not even going to choose.
Yes, for me, I would rather make decisions that would influence how a billion people communicate rather than choosing the color of seats in the house that only I and my relatives or probably a bunch of my friends will see.
He is the most detached billionaire who I know of. Seriously, what a guy. Mark Zuckerberg most often wears the same color t-shirt. Even Steve Jobs, you will see him in the same black t-shirt almost all the time.
Mark, hard-hitting question. Did you steal wearing the same thing every day from Steve Jobs?
I don't think so. I just think I was maybe a little lazy.
And not just these people only, but there are many rich people who I know of who wears the same design and same color every day. Point to be noted here is that frugality is a common trait among the ultra riches. The wannabe rich person would be flashy and loud, but not the actual wealthy person. Say you bought a car that costs more than your net worth. Well, of course, everyone around you will be in awe and impressed, but no one sees the burden of EMI that you are paying every month, for which you're working extra hours, even in the weekend, and almost losing your mind living a lifestyle to impress the society. The day you will realize that money is not just to buy things is when you will start making better decisions with your money. It is safe to say that majority of people across the world lacks financial literacy, and it is so by design. I am one of the prime example of a financial illiterate. Every time I would have some money, my lifestyle would escalate simultaneously. Living in a bigger house, spending more on unwanted stuff like a big TV, which is nothing more than a liability to me. I'm not saying that buying TV is bad, but you need to act as per your personal needs. I love to watch movies, so I was wasting too much time sitting in front of the TV. Eventually, I had to sell it off, because it's difficult for me to control not watching movies on a big screen, at that too, at home. Say, I bought the TV for X amount of price, but after using it for a few months, I cannot sell it for the same price. In fact, I sold it for almost half of its original price. I bought the TV thinking that everyone has a TV, so it's normal to buy one. I mean, I didn't even think, but that was a subconscious programming in my mind that having a television at home is normal, not realizing that it's not what I need. Point to be noted here, difference between needs and your wishes. My goal was always to make YouTube videos, but instead I was watching movies every day after work in 4K and going in debt gradually in 3D. If I would have invested the money in an asset, then it would have been a better choice. And for a long time, I thought, how come I never have any money, even though I'm earning a decent amount of salary every month? Well, if you would look at my purchase history online, then it wouldn't be a surprise anymore. If you keep buying nicer things as soon as you earn more, you will remain broke because the things that you are buying are liabilities. You need to save more and invest in assets. That's how wealth is built over time. Say for an example, you are earning 100 every month. Now suddenly your income increased and you're earning more and your new income is 200. But now that you are earning 100 more, you subconsciously start desiring to buy more and more fancier items, go on an expensive vacation, live a better life. You basically want to spend more. And there is absolutely nothing wrong in feeling so, as the compulsion is absolutely natural, but not the right practice if you want to build wealth. So you start spending 200 now because you can, right? Even though earlier you were able to manage with 100, but because the cash flow increased, now you matched your expenses with your income. Instead, the wiser decision would have been to keep the expenses at the same level of 100 and save and start investing that extra 100 now that you're earning. And it would in turn create your wealth and freedom over time through compounding. Doesn't sound that complicated, right? Yet everyone is making the wrong choices and suffering like it's normal. Because we give in to our compulsion, but the economic structure doesn't run on emotions. It runs on specific framework that we must learn to avoid such traps of lifestyle inflation. You see, most of my late 20s is wasted in suffering in grief, depression, and the cherry on top, unnecessary debt. I don't wish anyone to go through what I have been through, when it can be easily avoided by simply learning how money works. There's a quote by Warren Buffett: if you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. So by now you might have some questions in your mind. If money is not for showing off, then what is it for? If it is not just to buy things, then what do I use it for? Well, to be free from debt, to be free from financial stress, to be free to walk away from any unwanted situation in life, to be free to take a chance in life, to be free to stand beside the one in need, to be free to spend more time with your parents, wife and children, to be free to live your life on your own fucking terms. Believe it or not, the reality for most people worldwide is that they would become homeless if their monthly salary stopped for a few months. You may think that you are a free soul in this world, but are you? Really? We need to be rich for our own freedom, not to prove or show off anything to anyone. I really wish someone taught me this sooner, so I didn't have to learn this the hard way.